Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Peace and blessings be upon all of us. And we begin with salutations, peace, love, blessings from our heart to your heart. And we give gratitude for this gathering, for the collection, for the assimilation, for the synchronization of our those in the space from various parts of the world, but we choose to sink in and just hold the space for one another. So we give gratitude to that. And today's session of our Divaan Ishq will be focused on birth. So I pass that now to Louisa to tell us how we can commence with that note.
So we were talking about how there are many things right now that are kind of what is it called? That are tangents for the theme of birth. And well, we have the Christian holidays approaching, which is a big celebration of birth. And also we are celebrating Rumi today. And also we have some physical beings that are being brought forth soon, inshallah. I'm inshallah giving birth soon to a little baby, and also yeah, May, our sister, she's not here right now. She's having a book that's being birthed at the moment. And inshallah, Madiha, you're on the call today. There's some, what should we say? Maybe birth pains or birth complications, but we're expecting that you're gonna, through this this little unexpected event with Layla books, there will be some other birth emerging soon. So yeah, today's theme is birth, and of course, I'm sure for everyone there's something in every moment that's being either reborn or born like for the first time in our lives. So yeah, today we don't have any guest. We have some poems that we can read and then pen on, reflect on the theme. So I don't know do we want to start straight away with that, or is there something we should reflect before?
Let us place our hands, our right hand on our heart, and for a few moments just reflect, deeply reflect, as women who hold the womb innately and by nature's choice as the select gender to birth. So let us reflect on what birth means to each one of us. How about we spontaneously say a few words as to what birth means to us before we get into penning and reading and reflecting? Anyone here is welcome to write or sing.
I was like, to be to birth means then we are a clean slate, no regrets and bondages. But then this thought came that it should not be birds that has forgotten, but when we forget, then we are born, we are basically forgetful, and then we realize. But I was thinking of a bird, an ideal birth would be where we are free from bondage, so that was the idea. We are born, we are forgetful, we come to realization, but birth is just free of bondage, pure, clean, relaxed, neat. Yeah.
With me, I love that free from bondage. I would say I was birthed into chaos, and birth is kind of like a beginning and an ending. So even if the first 30 years was the first 30 years, it can end and be rebirthed. And I have been rebirthed like so many times, so many personalities, so many phases, so many homes. But right now, free from bondage, that's where I want to go. Thank you.
I also kind of reflected on the aspect where I don't know if birth and death are really different, because it's before we're born into this realm. I don't remember what it was like, and maybe that was all I knew, and I thought my life was ending as I knew it, and then I was born into this realm, and then I think probably, yeah, we're birthed all the time, like you said, Noor. We've already lived countless lives in this life, so there's never any birth without death and never any death without birth. So I guess reflecting on also the coming physical birth of another being it is obviously a death of a previous identity to some degree, and a birth of a new one also, not just for a baby but for the mother and everyone else. But I think there's a big element of surrender in birth. Both in the process of giving birth, you have to surrender because it's not in your hands and it's not meant to be. And resistance causes more pain. So also symbolically, I suppose in all the processes where we're resisting something new to be born, to remember that gravity and nature's forces are actually moving us very efficiently and probably better than we can ourselves.
When you mentioned pain, it reminded me, is there a correlation to resistance, our resistance, and the actual pain that one experiences in birth? Possibly, because we know through stories now and in the past of individuals who gave birth painlessly. So who were these beings and who are they? We know of Fatima Zahra, she gave a painless birth. This is what I had read. Birth to me means mission, and it's almost like everyone is a Messiah. And birth to me is not limited to the physical birth of a human being, but there are endless possibilities of what that birth is. And the essence of every birth is your soul birthing something. And every human being, male or female, is capable of giving birth. We just happen to, as the female gender, to give birth physically to a physical or a human being. However, the possibilities are endless, and when we give birth, it's never purposeless. So therefore, it's a mission-based birth of anything, whether it's a book, whether it's a project, whether it's a child, anything whatsoever. And to give birth, one cannot do so by themselves. There has to be a co-creation or a collaboration, a fusion, a sense of annihilation. And when that happens, and to whatever degree, then we create beautiful babies. Again, whether it's a book or whether it's, a human being. And so we are all here to birth. We are all here with a purpose. We have been birthed because we have a mission. And because we're technically beings by nature who forget, we forget why we're here, and then we're looking for that purpose, or that we're seeking, searching, and we're actually just seeking ourselves. And when we find ourselves, we come to know, we become awakened to our purpose, some early, some late, but we're all here to do that. So essentially, birth to me is a mission.
It sounds like birth is like awakening in your definition. Birth is awakening, where we awaken to the purpose.
Exactly. So, yeah, there is no one without a purpose, and there's no one without a mission. And so, by virtue of existence, everything is sacred, and everyone is sacred, because we're here with a purpose. We're here for something. And we're also here to rebirth, or to birth multiple times. And every birth represents a previous death, and then something must come forth. And I was listening to a lecture yesterday, and it talked about birth, about birthing the Jesus within, and you can't do so without the pain. And even Maulana Rumi speaks about the Isa, or the Jesus within. And so what does that really mean? Because who is he? So we're here to birth, and Jesus is a savior. He is a prophet. So whatever we birth is representing that sort of energy. Both divine and human, with a purpose, with a mission. Yeah. If we have some poems that you would like to read, we can reflect on that.
Yes. So this is a poem by Maulana Rumi, translated by Daniel Ladinsky. And it's called "The Body is Like Mary." The body is like Mary, and each of us has a Jesus inside. Who is not in labor, holy labor? Every creature is. See the value of true art when the earth or a soul is in the mood to create beauty. For the witness might then for a moment know beyond any doubt God is really there within. For the witness might then for a moment know beyond any doubt God is really there within. So innocently drawing life from us with her umbilical universe, infinite existence, though also needing to be born. Yes, God also needs to be born. Birth from a hand's loving touch, birth from a song, from a dance, breathing life into this world. The body is like Mary, and each of us has a Christ within.
That's so powerful. Imagine like almost 700 years ago, Rumi's talking about, what we talk about now, Christ consciousness, basically. We could do a reflective penning on that, Shaman. I'll give it a few minutes. Keep in mind that everyone's a doula. Whoever's ready, let's begin.
Are you a bit rushing the birth here, like the hospitals?
Maybe. Let's wait then. Shall I read something? The soul was designed to birth itself. Logic became its greatest foe. The body said, "Your abode is within me." Soul replied, "I came to be set free from the bondage of mind and ego. I am here to be set free. I'm here to set thee free, to set us free. We are we. Creativity became soul's gateway. We wished to become we. Mind said no, heart interjected. Without creativity, this heart lives not. Let soul be free through expression, be free, be free. Dead is one who shuns creativity. What good is intellect without a feel? I guess I've mixed up the previous one with that, but the point here was that the soul was designed to birth itself. Creativity becomes a very potent means to birth oneself.
Do you want to read Madiha's penning 2 for us?
Please go ahead and read it.
Allow yourself to birth, to be birthed, and to die in each moment. In each moment, the previous has died and a new one born. As you write on this book of life, everything you've written, even just a moment ago, has already faded, existing only in your memory, perhaps not even that. The present moment is a colliding of death and birth. And to be in this point of impact is to be alive. To be alive is not to avoid death. To be alive is to be face to face with death and birth, and to know they are one. Colliding of birth and death. Anyone else who wants to share?
Did you write that? Did you write that?
That was Madiha's.
Oh, mashallah. Well, what I have to share is more like the Christ consciousness part. It like gets me emotional when I I can't even say like anybody else is God but God. And so when I'm writing, I'm trying to understand what is Christ consciousness in me. And I think his name, the last name was Halaj, where he said, I am Haq. And that's when he died. But that's when he knew the truth. And so every single time it's that battle of like, what I wrote was a lot. But what I can share, okay, well, I'm just gonna read it. What is blocking me? I don't know how to say anyone is God but God, even the God within me. The Ruh breath in me. What correlation am I to a creator, the creator? What does it mean to have Christ consciousness? To be conscious of Christ, of being seen, of surrendering? What is in me and what is blocking me? Is there something wrong with me that I can't see that in me or say it? What past is its timing? From what part, the lower or the higher? The higher part in me says, I am with God, of God. The lower says nothing. It can't go up against God, the Almighty. What is scared to be of God? And the higher just says, raise higher. Raise out of this body, out of this dungeon. There is none but God here.
I would like to share. Instead of birth, I focused on being born. The forgetfulness, the languagelessness, I realized all was gone till the coming of the age and the trials of the age come to scorn, reminding of the promise, Alastu bi Rabbikum, qalu bala. The deal was done, the contract was sealed. The journey from forgetfulness to remembrance begins. The journey from without to within, a death again to birth, the larger than life within.
You know, when you mention Alastu bi Rabbikum, I suddenly just, had this thought that, in the realm of souls, that, we agreed to things we would do here, things we would agree on, things we would, the roles we would play, those who we were assigned to learn from, to love, to die, and so forth. So suddenly the idea of these archetypes, the assassins. So some of us agreed to play the role of the assassin, to kill another, while others, we agreed to love forever. And this whole idea of soul contracts, to do, certain things with the other, those who we pledged allegiance to, what we pledged allegiance to, who we recognized. There's difference of opinion in terms of, they say that when all the souls were gathered and they were asked by the Almighty, am I not your Lord? Qalu bala. Was that said by everyone? There's difference of opinion on that. And I don't have that sort of, expertise or knowledge to comment on that. But I believe that, recognition at that time happened on so many levels. And in relation to birth, there were individuals, including ourselves, who were commissioned to become a means to assist someone else in their birth. And the role of the guide has that sort of very prominent and pivotal role in, bringing forth that sort of force from within. And the guides assign lesser guides, individuals, the lover, the enemy, however these forms take place, to become a means of birthing. So in connection to that, I give utmost gratitude for those individuals who not only became a means of, wrecking me, but also were a means to help me birth something. And yeah, that's that. So we must not forget those who become a means of, helping us birth different, because we can easily, have these births, multiple births, but it's a different thing to forget and move on, and then to remember. So I personally like the idea of remembering those who became a means of birthing these multiple births. Sometimes we forget that. And then that goes back to, the quality of the soul, loyalty and love. And so we work on that in this world. in this realm through, cleansing, spiritual purification, the path of the heart. So we become these beautiful beings that try not to forget, and we try to come out of this amnesia that we're constantly in. We forget, we have forgotten, and we forget. That's why they say when children are born, they're closest to home, and they have the greatest and most profound memory of realities, and the things they utter, the things they say. These are wise teachers. There's a spiritual guide. Her name is Morshida Verakorda, and she was a Sufi master from, I believe, the Inayati path. I'm not sure exactly now, or Chishtiya. So she wrote a lot about birth and birthing and so forth. So her books are worth, looking into. And she talks about, matters in relation to the spiritual realm, the world of the souls, and how even parents had agreed to, agreement of the children that they will bring forth, and soul families, obviously, all of that. She covers a lot of that sort of stuff. And yeah. Also because, today is the Urs of Maulana Rumi, we can reflect on the Shams, this means or medium who became a means of Rumi coming into existence in full potential. So that was the select medium. And it's hard to say because all this sort of knowledge is always subjective, but there's always a Shams in your life, and there could be multiple Shamses, but it's technically, the multiplicity is not really multiplicity, it's just that one energy. And it's coming through different forms, but who was that person who became a means to your, awakening? And that's something we could reflect on as well. Yeah, I think the Shams factor is a very relevant theme for people. And yeah.
I feel like I'm like dying and being birthed right now. And it's like it wants to be held in and it doesn't want to be held in. But I first do want to say, Mehtab, I love you for the sake of Allah. Like, I feel like I don't know you. And your words, like, they really, mashallah. And also the part of like, Bala Shahidna, right? The scholars, they might say whatever, sorry, not sorry, but they might say, something, but it's like, okay, well, how about, what do I remember? If I could like try to remember. And I feel like, I believe, because the Quran says that everybody said it, but also I believe that we all said it differently. So like the bellas sounded different. Each bella was different. So when I hear my own bella, I can like hear my own bella, and know that it's different. And the idea of the assassins, and everybody is for something, the assassins, the teachers, the light, all of it. So I really appreciate you guys right now too.
The shadow guides take us into dark tunnels and alleys and cobwebbed rooms. Those are equally great masters to prepare us for whatever. Yeah. I found a poem on my little secret blog where I store all my stuff. And this is something I wrote in the early days when I, had this experience of Shams. And I want to share that here. Okay. Because this was literally like, how I was feeling. A lonely traveler strolled along a shaded pathway. Suddenly, thunder shattered the starry sky. Lightning struck her instantly. Fatally, she gasped for air. Currents of electric waves charged her soul. Spirit revived. An angelic presence, a second life. It was you, another me. A second life, it was you, another me. Indescribable transparency, the moment of awakening, alighted at last, firelit, love's delight. A shaded pathway with no road signs, tragic disappearance. You came and left without notice, alone once again upon this path. Despair not, your inseparable shadow, my eternal companion. I still remember that, when I met this Shams, which I had no idea who, what I was meeting and getting into. I remember I was in a cafe and she took like a napkin from the cafe and she said, "Who are you? Write it down. And what are you here for?" And she made me do like a writing exercise on a napkin. And that was enough to, do the magic. Because I was literally clueless, unconsciously at least, or consciously clueless. And from that, I also extracted the power of writing.
Is this what Shamses do? They ask you who you are, and then they make you write poetry or recite poetry?
I don't know, but I know they have a maddening effect.
Yeah,
What did
it
you
seems
write?
like there's a correlation.
Sorry?
Do you remember what you wrote?
Well, you know what? Everything I'm doing now is literally like glimpses of what I wrote. And it's like she knew it all. She was like, it's almost like she had access to like a DNA imprint. And she's like, she was guiding me to extract that through the questioning. So it's like a Socratic method she was using. And honestly, I don't know if she even, that's the thing. Does the Shams know the effect of herself or himself? That itself is a mystery because, I don't like, I'm not sure if she really understood her effect. But it was, Shams wrote these questions. Oh, really? Wow. MashaAllah. You had that happen to you too. Madiha. Let me just read what she says so that our readers can be aware. Madiha says, Shams wrote these 3 questions on a piece of paper and gave it to me. Who am I? What is love? What is real? I later tore the paper and threw it, but the questions are ingrained in my heart. Yeah, so it's just a very alchemical effect, but I I changed my opinion to limiting Shams as, that one individual. Symbolically, yes, but realistically and essentially, no. It's just, it's an eternal energy, and it's not limited to that. So Shams is going to reappear in many forms, and until you're ready to really see yourself fully, and maybe that's when, like, yeah, I don't know, I can't really comment right now.
Was it instant?
What was instant?
Was it meeting Shams?
Oh,
and
totally. Yeah.
It was like instant in that moment. You didn't have to leave and then ponder. It was just
No,
like
no,
this.
no. It was just my first, like, I ended up talking to her on the phone, and she invited me to some event, and I didn't even see her. So when I was sitting there, I was like, who is that person? I remember just feeling like, who is this? Like, I wasn't even sure if like I had no idea. And I've never really felt that sort of magnetic pull, right? So little did I know I was looking at that person that was to be, the spiritual guide. And so, yeah, it started off like that, but then it was just like, when I got to know her, that's when all the stuff started happening. Yeah. And at that time I was given this book called The Radical Practices of Rumi, right? I remember getting that, and everything I was reading in that book was actually happening. So there was like, this sort of thing happening. And there's yeah, so it's just you meeting you, and what happens is you're awakened to yourself. And that individual, because the Prophet, peace be upon him, said that the believer is a mirror for the other, for the believer. And so the effect of Shams is the mirror effect. So you're seeing yourself. The more you can see yourself in the other, which is technically you, the more you fall in love with those people or those individuals in life, because you're seeing yourself. It's a selfish sort of idea, but it's true. You are constantly seeking yourself. And that's why Halad said what he had to, right? And that is why everywhere you see the face of God. So you're seeking that effect everywhere. You're seeking yourself through things, through the flower, through the beach, like beauty, individuals. Why is it? Because you're actually seeing yourself. And if the greatest sort of means to see yourself is the human, right? The human being. I'm not going to really fully alchemize with my rabbit Rumi. I will to a certain degree, but the way you can actually see yourself, because Allah has kept the secret in the human and in the heart and in the soul. So that's the secret, right? To see yourself. And when you can see yourself, then, depending on the role of that mirror, perhaps it's like, now, okay, you see yourself, au revoir, my job is done. And yeah, and some stay, some go, and they have a specific role to play, and then you can go mad. And then you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do. And so everything, I don't know, everything is just so unique. Not everyone's journey is relevant to the other, but I can totally relate to the, I think we all can relate to Maulana Rumi, alhamdulillah, so that's that. And so you're trained to, through the Shams effect, you're trained to, you're attuned and aligned to see yourself, and then you start seeing yourself more and more and more. And you know, you can ask yourself, we can ask ourselves, like, is there someone right now in our life that we can actually be fully naked with, like in terms of being raw, and can we see all of ourselves through that individual? If there is that person right now, or, you know, that is right there, a Shams. You know, that is the living Shams. Like there's nothing you want to hide or you can hide. And that's the thing. That's why people also fall in love with their guides, because they have that effect. Yeah, so.
It's that glance of divine perspective. And I'm going to use that divine word because I think that's essentially what we're feeling when we have a mirror that reflects us very purely. And I'm just very like surprised, or not actually surprised, but to some degree surprised, because it's just very funny. The question that I was caught by was, I wonder who you are. That was the question that was posed to me. So it always seems to be that which draws us more than anything else. It doesn't matter when it comes to connection, it doesn't matter if someone is having the same interests, or, I mean, these are superficial things and we can click with people because of so many different things. But like this coming down to, I really want to know you on the deepest of all levels. I really want to see you, see who you really are. And that is like irresistible to the spirit. And I could actually, I could share what I wrote also. Mary was told she'd give birth to God himself, as by a miracle, without her consent. She consented to the order. The incarnation of divine, a formless seeking form, whether by immaculate conception or atomical deception, equally miraculous to be alive, when we really are space and love intertwined. The embrace of spirit and flesh, a divine union, tries so to separate them, claim orthodoxy or atheism. The fact remains, who can explain the mystery of birth?
I really do want to go to mass, so. Midnight
can you?
mass. I can, of course I can. I'm
Yeah.
just expressing a desire.
So then do.
I will.
Yeah.
I wanted to share another one. It's just like a share hog time, but sometimes we get so entangled and so caught up in the form, right, of that reflection. And that's where heartbreak and pain happens. And then through pain, according to all traditions, and that's, you know, that's where the alchemy and the outpourings and everything must take place as an effect. But we must remember on the path of love, or the path of the heart, that mirror we have to keep in mind the constant theme that love will remind us of, and that is non-attachment. So even in the case of Maulana Rumi, when Shams so-called disappeared, I mean, what exactly happened? Maulana Rumi became Shams, right? And he, till today, he's a Shams for you know, multitudes of souls. And so you are actually, there is no disappearance, and there is no, as long as there's duality, then I guess, you know, there is the physical presence, and those who have had individuals disappear on them. The grand master plan is probably just to remind that, you know, whoever said, you know, there is a disappearance, because the soul never disappears. Your heart doesn't have to, like, as long as you remember, you're with that person. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, I can't seem to articulate it at the moment, but you know, you're one with where your heart is. So the question is there a disappearance? Because the disappearance to me would be like, if you've disappeared from my heart, then you've disappeared. And if you haven't, then I'm with you. And whoever said we're going to be here forever anyways. So it's, you are with who you love, with whom you love.
I just, sorry.
Yeah. No.
No, I just think about like how, I mean, the teacher takes so many different forms. Like you already said, Shams essentially is not a person, but an energy. And I just was reminded when you were talking about the disappearances, about my first big, what should I say, teacher, like formal teacher. And when that relationship ended, it was I who had to leave, not him. He was not the one who said, get out. But I was forced to leave. And that was equally painful because I was really resisting. And in the end, I think I said to him, like, you know, but why do you have to, you know, then when I had said I have to go because it can't work like this, because I was living in an ashram and things were becoming just way too complicated. Long story. Anyways, he said, you have to, you know, accept that partings hurt. And I know it's painful to say goodbye, but when a process comes to its end, then a process comes to its end, and there's nothing more to gain from that relationship. And that was just, I don't know, it was very, in that very harsh kind of moment, because he was a harsh teacher, there was that kind of recognition of like, it doesn't, clinging to something because of nostalgia or because of comfort doesn't help. So there was love, there was deep love and care in that, like, go, do your thing, grow, it's over with this part and now you have to move on. And I think whether Shamses do that intentionally or not intentionally, I think they don't have a choice and we don't have a choice. And when our hearts break, it's not because people want to hurt, but our hearts have to break when we have to grow out of that form that we've been kept in. So yeah, I'm just eternally grateful for actually him saying, no, it sucks that you have to go, but you have to go. So wisdom of a big teacher.
I want to just whistle blow here, you know, something that maybe shouldn't be shared, but I'm going to share that because it's very relevant. You were prepared in, you know, the school, the yogic school and all of that sort of training. And as you were being channeled or brought into stuff that you innately found resonance with, you know, the Sufic teachings and stuff. I recall one of the dreams that you shared, and sorry, like I'm gonna just say it, like I don't have to give specifics, but she had seen this orange woman had seen herself, you know, with that teacher, the yogic teacher, scolding him basically to to whatever degree, and then that dream followed with her, you know, literally bowing down to to a Mevlevi master, and she was graced, and then he basically kidnapped her, like, you know, kind of, you know, took her in, and we arranged for her initiation. And so when that happened, it was just like, you know, there's always a transfer from one guide to the other, and who knows where that, it depends on the power of that guide and where they're supposed to take you to. And like the guides always say, once you give your hand, right, we don't like desert you, we don't leave you, we take care of you. Our job is specific, we have a role to play. So depending on who the guide is in that chain, there are some guides who literally can bring you home all the way, and there are other guides who have, like, you know, from A to T or A to M, and then it's a transfer. So like that, you know, I would say, you know, in all the stuff, like no matter how much we read about the path of love, the teachings of love, all the poems, read all the anecdotes and sit with the masters and all of that, there is no better way to learn the path of love except through falling in love. And that is the story of Jami. You know, we know this through, you know, one of the students came to him and said, I want to be your student. And he said, go fall in love, be broken, then come back to me. And that's what happened to that individual. And he became like a very prominent disciple of Maulana Jami. So, you know, symbolic to how Shams, according to a lot of traditions, how he took the books of Maulana Rumi, threw them into the fire or water. That's basically what it is. Throw all your knowledge and everything. And that means that portal, like where you actually melt and become, you know, fall in love with that individual. That is the teacher, that is the teachings, that is the scripture, that is the way home. And it's just a matter of not, like the heartbreak is about, you know, thinking that's the end and all. And we have to go beyond that and see that, you know, it's literally, you know, that's it. Maybe that individual had a role to play, that guide, that person that we were so in love with. And then, you know, there's continuation that needs to take place. So it's I guess it's tricky to see everything sort of in that light where you can go beyond and say, okay, well, yeah, I just learned this lesson and I'm going to move on, and I'm just gonna, you know, and that part is a bit tough. And but yeah, the way of the heart and the way of love is the school. And that's basically, yeah, I really don't have much to say after that. I'm done. Cooked, baked, I don't know, wrecked. I want to share a poem though. I want to share a poem before Noor speaks, and then we're gonna have a little surprise, an embarrassing surprise from Mehtab. Hold on for a minute. No reality but reality. Okay, it's a very short one, and this is representing the journey of the soul. Okay, the soul and the body. A sub-Saharan journey into a ruthless desert, accompanied by blue-eyed Tuareg I questioned every grain. For what reason have I come? Enamored by my reflection, my glance befell a mirage. Seeking another, I saw myself. When my eyes met with mine, I knew none existed but me. I drank this reality till thirst receded. I uttered endlessly, there is no reality but me, no reality but reality. I just want to make one point before I zip up, and that is that, you know, every human being we come close enough to, and we're looking into their eyes, essentially, what is it that you're seeing through those eyes? Provided, you know, they're not AI, like it's like an actual human being. What do you see in the pupil? What do you see? Just wondering. Do you not see yourself in there? What is that telling you? What is actually real? And what is it that you're actually seeing in all yourself? Noor, you're saying something.
Well, I wrote down, you guys are killing me and giving me life this whole time. I've been dying, and then and I thank you guys, because yes, if it's in the heart, then it doesn't matter where you are. And then, you know, I'm steady trying to figure out, with me, I relate everything because I feel like through stories people have, Allah blesses me with the experience. So I get to like experience it. So I asked myself, like, you know, did I meet my Shems and all that? And I did, which is my Sayyidi. I did. And then when the eyes thing happened, what happened though was my Shems was right here with me, but others around almost wanted to cancel our relationship. They didn't, yeah, they was like, they were literally telling, like, it's hard for him to smile or anything like that. And when we saw each other, we were smiling, both of us cheesing, and they didn't like it. They said, okay, get out. It literally said that. And it was like, okay. But then it was me trying to battle, you know, like, but now I could say, yes, definitely inside my heart. And none of you asked to see your Shems again. Nobody said before your Shems left you. Rumi didn't know, but me, you know, this world could be what you want it to be. And Allah is how you think of him. So I need comfort of the eyes. I do. I need comfort of the heart and comfort of the eyes. So I definitely want to see my Shems again. Hopefully he's not done with me. And again, because I guess I'm like singular, you know, I have parents, but I don't have parents. You know, I have this, but I really don't have. And so when the first thing he asked me, he said, what do you have? I was like, I ain't got nothing. And he just started laughing, you know, he just laughed. And it's like, now as you guys are talking, it's like, oh yes, like, and it is okay if, no, it's not. It's not okay if I don't see him. I'm trying to see him again. It's not okay. It's not, that's minimum. I don't want to settle. And that's what right now for my Shems, I don't want to settle. He comes first, you know, and inshallah, like the effect, because it already started, you know. But also Sana, if you know Sana, if you said somebody who makes you see yourself more and you're not afraid to be naked in front of them. I have a lady who she knows, I don't mind it. I don't mind if she knows about me, knows the truth. And so it's nice that, yeah, there is Shams in a lot of people. And I think Shams knows. I think Shams knows what effect they have. Because if I could be someone else's Shams, I would think that I would know. Thank you, guys.
The greater one annihilates in the shams, in that energy, then you become like the ray. I mean, sorry, the sun, which has multiple rays. So you can zap out, you know, these are the great guides who have the ability to make 1 billion followers just literally bow to them. It's that light that they're all like, you know, Hail Mary on. It's just phenomenal, because that's their level of annihilation. And that's the crazy effect. And it's like, how deep are you? Well, we'd never know, but like, what did we pledge to? Did we pledge to totally like obliterate ourselves? Like that, so, you know, that Hussein energy where it's like, yeah, I don't want to give my hand, but I'll give my head, and I'll give every part of me. I'll give my family. I'll leave everything for you, my beloved Layla. And that's what he did. He literally ran into the arms of death, or into the jaws of death. And it's like, what did we sign up for? So hopefully we signed up for like, I remember I had this only one time I created like an Urdu poem, because I had to meet this Urdu poet, like this hermit in Jeddah, who had like the largest Urdu library, but he was a Saudi. And, you know, back then, if you come in the 50s, you get that Saudi citizenship. So I remember going home and like, I was like, actually like producing Urdu poetry. Okay. And that was like once, and that's it. So far, I can't predict the future, but I compose in English. So, and it was just after I had that effect. I mean, or I was affected. And so in that, I mentioned in there, Ashik or Ma'shuh ki Sazade. So that means, like in my prayer, and I'm seeking through the sands of Karbala, and I'm like saying, you know, I want the punishment of the Ashik and Ma'shuq. And I remember, yeah, there's some weird stuff I was asking for in that poem. But to me, in reflection, it's not about, it wasn't about, you know, what I'm writing. It's just maybe like what my soul is desiring. So on another note, I'd be happy to share my Urdu recital. It'd be too much in this particular one. Like, it's just some crazy stuff I wrote, but it wasn't me writing. It was my soul expressing and wanting something. Yeah. So yeah, so that's that. Mehtab, bring it on.
I can't hear the sound. Can you guys hear?
No, we can't.
I think Mehtab, you have
Maybe
to
Mehtab,
share the
just check
sound.
this, check the sound settings when you press, when you screen share, there's a box at the bottom right, share sound. Want to guide her, Louisa? You want to shums her?
Can you hear it now?
A sub-Saharan journey into a ruthless desert, accompanied by blue-eyed Tuareg. I questioned every grain. For what reason have I come? Enamored by my reflection, my glance befell a mirage, seeking another.
I saw myself. When my eyes met with mine, I knew none existed but me. I drank this reality till thirst receded. I uttered endlessly.
There is no reality but me, no reality but reality, no reality but reality, no reality but reality, no reality but me. You just have to stop screen share.
Where the bit help?
It's by the green little, you know, can you see a green little kind of mini box or stripe? You can move the cursor there and then it like pops down and then it says stop screen share. Should be a red thingy.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
So the question is, who's the mirage? No, but we're actually just seeking ourselves, and we can't seek ourselves unless we see the other. And you can't meet yourself. You can't even see your face, actually, except through a mirror, correct? I can see my hands, but I can't see my face. So I must see that through a mirror. And then, so how do you see yourself? Through a mirror, the human mirror, the mortal mirror. Mysterious. Thoughts, welcome, because we will wrap up soon.
From this mirage, I am reminded of an experience. There was this time I was seeking something and I had an idea in my head. It was after the Fajr prayer, and I just looked at there was this, I saw that there was this heavy bike toy, like real heavy bike, beautiful toy on the shelf, and I'm like, wow, it's so beautiful. Where did this come from? And I got close to it, and it was a wrapper, the inside of a wrapper that was just silver, you know. So it was a right message that you know, there's where we have made stupid idols in our head. And that idol was equal to that rapper. Oh my God. It was so scary and awesome.
Can I share a penning here in the end? An old one. Look at my face. I'll show you all that you are. Don't turn away from me. Don't hide your tears from me. What you see is only yourself. We have space to hold that. My heart has space to hold yours. Talk to me. Listen to your nay voice, echoing lament and praise, longing for our mutual home. Our breaths fuse. No steam on the mirror when we breathe as one. We disappear into one another. For what happens when you put two mirrors towards one another? You see eternity reflected. Do not waste a minute reflecting anything else, as all else is illusion. Why do you still desire to play around in the fields of flowers and trees, pretending you have form? Look at me and see who you really are, my beloved. Look at me and return to source. Even the moon is a liar, also the sun, albeit beautiful, do not match your splendor. Why do you keep running? You're afraid of seeing, you're afraid of something so magnificent as your soul. I ask you, pearl-like eyes, look at me, drown in yourself. Why are you still holding on? Let go. Only in death is there life. Look at me and tell me without words what you see.
Powerful reminder.
What happens when you place two mirrors opposite to each other? Wow.
That's how it feels, isn't it? When you want to give yourself fully to that exploration of reality, and then that mirror is prepared to do the same. I think that's talking of soul contracts and what was mentioned earlier about like how you may want to give a part, or you may want to give your whole head and your family and your life and everything. And I think, yeah, sometimes we're not prepared to give ourselves all the way, and sometimes maybe the shuns that we're trying to kind of create that union with is not prepared to go all the way, and then we just can't. And then it's only when we're both like wanting the same thing then we can meet.
In the book Radical Practices of Rumi, we'll share it back on the group. There's a PDF and it's worth a read. So in there, I know, like, I used to be on Will Johnson's mailing list until I decided to unsubscribe. So that's the author of the book. And I gave him some sort of feedback on, keeping it low key, and not blabbering out the experience and then getting wrecked. But anyways, that was way back. And in there, not in the book, but he talks about this practice of the gazing of Maulana Rumi and Shamsi Tabriz, which was, which is a Sufic practice. It's a spiritual practice. And there is something that happens organically, and then there is, I guess, a manipulated sort of thing. So I remember being on the mailing list, and he would have these retreats, and he would say that, I'm going to pair you up with someone, and you're going to do the whole, tasawwur with the person, to kind of get into that sort of unveiling of yourself. But I remember just feeling like, would that actually work when that's not an organic experience? Like, how do you just, it just didn't make sense. So when you actually experience that, it's an effortless of, the meeting of the two oceans, and it's a real phenomena. But when you try to, I guess, construct it and try to figure it out when it's not organic, then it's, I don't know how that would work.
It does work. I can just share.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because it's like, well, of course, depending on your openness, but if you're open to, I guess, receive and give to the other, because it's very intimate to look into someone's eyes. It's very, like, vulnerable. So you have to kind of be open to that, and you have to be open to the other person's, like, connection. But you can definitely fall in love with the soul of a person, regardless of knowing nothing about them, by just looking into someone's eyes. But I would say definitely, like, that's the more constructed version. And then there's the part where you can't help but just, like, merge in the gaze of the beloved, because that's all you want to merge with. And then it becomes so powerful. But essentially, since we all are that reality, then of course, I mean, it's just your own, maybe, ideas or different mind matter that first starts coming up, or you start seeing projections on the other one, or things like that. But then the well is there to the depths of the soul. I even think they did an experiment, like, this is just a memory I have of, like, some maybe YouTube video or of something, like, putting strangers together and having them gaze into each other. Mehtab, you've seen it? Like, and people literally fall in love in, minutes when they start looking into each other's eyes.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
I think there are two opposite things happen. And I also read that in the fact that if you gaze at someone's eyes for some seconds, you either fall in love with them or you want to kill them. There are two opposites, two extremes. And also in couples therapy, and I have also read in Islamic context as well, that you should gaze into each other's eyes. And when you get into the Sufi path, because when I was teenager, I was so much into cosmopolitan. I could write books. So, but when you get into the Sufi path, there was this thing, the first thing the initial quotes that I the words of wisdom that I came across with, that we always talk about the bad nazar, the nazar of hasad, the evil eye. Why don't people talk about the gaze of the saints? When you look at them, you get healed. When you look at them, and when you look at them, you find you. Just from right now, I'm gonna take that. And then from Maulana Sheikh Nazim, it was like, distribute my picture to the people, even if they know me or they don't know me. So when they will look into my eyes, and they will connect. And then on the other level, they say that the eyes of the saints, they emit the energy. There's Sifatul Rahman, there's the power of Hayy as well, that is eternity. I can mess up with the words, but there's the eye of a believer is the eye of God. That is then what we are experiencing. So, and then from Sayyida Alisha's blog, that was the first time I read that, when you look into the eyes, you also get into the soul. And there was also, you shared, that was in 2019, I think there were posts from 2019. And it was about, there was also scientific research done on that, of the eyes, and you getting into the souls. So this is just a huge, endless, mashallah topic.
Yeah, I think compared to any other parts of the human body, the eyes emit the most energy or the most light. Yeah. So we want to, hang out forever, and that would be great, inshallah, once we establish our village, the Smurf village. We can have these talks till late night, with the bonfire and all of that. So please start saving up. We have to do this. We'll find a nice warm place in the world. We'll have people scout, this is the best location, and we move there. So we can have these endless sohbas, inshallah. So let us, inshallah, close with a Fatiha for Maulana Rumi, for Isa alayhi salam, for the souls of all humanity. Silent Fatiha. So thank you for another wonderful session, and grateful for all that we exchanged here. Until next time, peace be upon all of us.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
Salam.
Salam alaikum.
Thank you.
Salam.